afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Tibetan Buddhist Society Peaceful Land of Joy again. How marvellous it is to be here 2 weeks in a row. Fingers crossed our good fortune will continue, and which means that the health of Melbourne people and people of Victoria is going okay. So fingers crossed we'll all be here again next week. My name is Pam and I'm a long-term student of Geshe Acharya Thubten Loden, our precious founder and spiritual leader of this centre, our tradition of celebrating our good fortune with our marvellous prayers. Today that we'll do the prayers in Tibetan and English, and Anna's going to help me a bit with it. Okay, so starting on page 19 of your prayer book. Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. Pa Chandende Deshin Shekha Drapa Jantum Pa Shanten Jinde Jepan Ripa Dangshu Dapa Teacher, Bhagavan, Tathagata, Arhat, perfectly pure and complete Buddha, all-knowing, having poise, Sugata, apprehender of the world, navigator of beings to be subdued, incomparable, teacher of gods and humans, to the Buddha, the Bhagavan, the glorious conqueror Shakyamuni, we prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. Sanghi chodam sokhi chok namla jangju badu dagni kyab suchi Dagi jin sogi he sonam hi drola panchi sange drupashok. To the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, I go for refuge until becoming enlightened. Through the merit of my generosity and so on, may I achieve Buddhahood to benefit all beings. To the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, I go for refuge until becoming enlightened. Through the merit of my generosity and so on, may I achieve Buddhahood to benefit all beings. Shaji Bhogi Jukshin me tram rira ling shimire ganpari This ground, anointed with perfume and strewn with flowers, Mount Meru, the 4 continents, adorned with sun and moon, imagined as a Buddha land and offered thus, may all beings enjoy such pure lands. The 7-limb prayer on page 21. I prostrate my 3 doors with a mind of respect and offer all actually arranged and mentally emanated offerings. I reveal all the downfalls and negativities that I have ever collected and rejoice in the virtues of individuals and superiors. Please remain perfectly abiding until samsara is no longer seen. I request you to turn the vast and profound wheels of Dharma. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. And then the prayer of the lineage gurus. I think we'll do that one in English, please. Just one moment. Just wanted to say something about the prayer of the lineage gurus, because I'll mention a bit of it again later on. And just the prayer of the lineage gurus, and when I look back at our lineage, it always, to tell the truth, blows my mind to think that I can sit here in this beautiful temple and trace my Buddhist lineage right back to Buddha, 2,500 years ago. It's actually quite incredible, that a tradition should carry on for so long, and that a tradition, particularly of peace, sometimes it's very easy for the aggressive traditions to carry on, but for a beautiful tradition such as Buddhism to carry on for 2,500 years is truly marvellous. And for us to know the important entities, I never know what to call them because they're not really people, a lot of them. The important entities in our lineage and know the stories of them are truly inspirational. So let's share together the prayer of the lineage gurus on page 23 of your prayer books, if you have one, in English. Body born from 1,000,000 magnificent, excellent virtues, speech fulfilling the hopes of infinite beings, a mind that sees all objects of knowledge precisely, I bow my head to the chief among the Shakyas. Supreme sons of the incomparable teacher, carrying the load of all the conqueror's deeds, by the emanations appearing in countless realms, I prostrate to Maitreya and Manchushri. The mother of conquerors is difficult to fathom. The precise thought is in commentaries written by Jabdavicta's ornaments, Nagarjuna and Asanga. I prostrate at the feet of those most renowned in the three realms. From these two great chariots come the excellent lineages of the paths of profound view and vast deeds. Their essential points gathered thoroughly and without fault. Prostrations to the lamp holding this treasury of instruction, giving explanation through compassion by seeing precisely and completely the essential points of all paths of Sutra and Tantra, holder of the conqueror's entire holy Dharma, prostrations to the glorious Lhasa and Drakpa. I, seeing all the infinite teachings, supreme way of crossing for those entering the journey to liberation, moved by compassion to deeds skilled in method, prostrations to the spiritual masters who make everything clear. And then finally, the great treasury of excellence, and we'll do this one also in English on page 27 of our prayer books. This is the great treasury of excellence, the path of the the prayer of the path to enlightenment by Jason Karpa, who I'll talk about also today. And this, I was saying a moment ago that we've got this incredible knowledge that's come from us from Buddha 2,500 years ago. And this beautiful prayer explains the path that we take from the beginning through to enlightenment. The kind master is the basis of all qualities, and proper reliance is the root of the path. By seeing this excellence and through much striving, bestow blessings to be devoted with great respect. This gentle support of freedom obtained this one time is most difficult to achieve. Knowing its great value gives rise to a mind seizing its essence constantly, day and night. Bestow blessings to generate this continuum unceasingly. It is like a bubbling water, this constantly moving body and life. Thus remember the swift collapse of death. Beyond death, like body and shadow, white and black karmic results follow after. By gaining firm certainty in this, the mass of faults, subtle and very subtle, are abandoned, and the accomplishment of all virtuous collections completed. Bestow blessings to ever retain conscientiousness. The qualities of samsara are unfit to be trusted, the door to all suffering. Do not be content with these enjoyments. By knowing its defects, bestow blessings to develop a great aspiration for the bliss of liberation. By that pure thought, great conscientiousness is drawn forth, and mindfulness and awareness of the individual liberation, the root of the teachings. Bestow blessings to make this the essential practice. Just as I myself have fallen into samsara's ocean, all living beings as mother are also like that. By seeing the responsibility for the liberation of beings, bestow blessings to be trained in supreme bodhicitta. However, by merely generating the mind, if not acquainted with the three aspects of ethics, enlightenment will not be attained. By seeing this excellence, bestow blessings to train with strong efforts in the vows of the conqueror's sons. Pacifying distraction toward perverse objects by way of proper analysis of the perfect meaning, bestow blessings to swiftly and continuously generate the path related to the union of calm abiding and special insight. Thus, becoming a vessel trained in the common paths, enter the Vajrayana, supreme evolution of all vehicles. Bestow blessings to engage the easy path itself, that sacred way of crossing for fortunate beings. The base of practice for the two aspects of attainment is when guarding the pure vows of commitment is found to be genuine and certain. Bestow blessings to protect them even at risk of life. Then, by understanding properly the important points which are the essence of the two stages of the Tantra classes, bestow blessings to practice according to these holy teachings with continuous effort in the supreme fourth session yoga. Like that, may the spiritual friend revealing the gentle path and the friends of proper practice stand firm. Bestow blessings to quickly pacify the masses of outer and inner hindrances. In all rebirths, may never be parted from the perfect gurus and the enjoyment of the glorious Dharma. By utterly completing all qualities, paths and grounds, may quickly achieve the state of Vajradhara. Thank you, everyone. Okay. So this is the second week of our ongoing Path to Enlightenment classes for 2022. If you were able to join us last week, you'll know that we diverted from our usual program of learning about Buddha's Path to Enlightenment teachings. I felt that it was essential to pause and acknowledge the distress of our world, particularly the tragic Ukraine situation and the terrible flooding in our own country. We contributed to the peace and well-being throughout the world with our Buddhist practice last afternoon. We may think that our peace practice have no effect, but Buddha has taught that change is interdependent, and because it is interdependent, it is not possible for our efforts last week to have no effect. In this moment, we may not be able to perceive the effect that we are having, but it is there and it cannot help but be there. In his teachings, Buddha taught that, In his teachings, Buddha taught about friend, enemy, and stranger. He reminded us to be careful of our motivations for practice. It is so easy to be discriminating in our attitudes. We see those we like as our friends, definitely worthy of love and compassion. There's that group of strangers who we often fail to include or even notice. And then there are the enemies, or those we don't like, or those who don't like us, who seemed undeserving of our concern. When we think this way and practice with exclusivity, we have forgotten Buddha's teachings on the ongoing nature of change. Our friends will become our enemies. Those strangers will become central to our lives. We just don't know how or when, in this life or the next. We also need to remember the Four Noble Truths, particularly the first Noble Truth of true suffering. Whether we can fully appreciate it or not, true nature is suffering. All sentient beings are suffering, ourselves included, as we well know. One of the wonders of Buddha's teachings is that we come to know that we are not separate from those in our peace practices. Their suffering is our suffering. When we touch their suffering, sending out our compassion to them, it is an opportunity to also know that we too suffer. We can send that compassion out to ourselves as well. The last thing I wanted to reiterate from last week is the delightful lesson from early in my Buddhist journey, where a monk said to me, "If it ain't joyful, it ain't Buddhism." I still laugh. I mean, that was years ago, and I still laugh every time I think about that. It's how it caused me to stop dead in my tracks, and so thinking all the time about how can I live my life that way. If it ain't joyful, it ain't Buddhism. So today, let's start our review of the 2021 Path to Enlightenment teachings with a joyful meditation. Let's enhance our learning and understanding of Buddhism by pausing for a while and resting our minds, enjoying the peace of Buddhism. I'll lead the way and provide some instructions as we go. Thanks, Mani. That's really good. Thank you. So, our meditation posture. As we start off, let's use our usual way of getting ready to meditate. First of all, getting our bodies physically ready. Make sure your bottom's settled comfortably on your cushion or your seat. Nice and stable, so you are grounded and you don't wobble. Your legs are crossed if you are sitting on the floor, or sit comfortably on a chair with both feet stable on the floor. If you're sitting on a chair, if possible, try not to cross your legs, but keep them parallel. It seems to work better. Your backbone is straight like the trunk of a tree. This is very important because your backbone supports the weight of your body as you meditate. And then with your shoulders level and your arms relaxed, they can sit there gently like the branches of a tree. Then if you lift your chest up just a little, you'll find that you naturally straighten your back comfortably and with no tension. When you lift your chest that way, you'll find that your head will naturally tilt slightly forward at about 45 degrees. Not too far down or you'll fall asleep, and also not too high or you'll become agitated. Mouth, jaw and tongue relaxed in a nice, easy, natural position. Hands resting in your lap. In our tradition, left hand down first, palm up, then right hand down on top with its palm up. And the tips of your tips of your thumbs are gently touching. And then finally, if you haven't already done so, just gently close your eyes so that your eyelashes brush your cheeks. Or if you wish, half close your eyes, if you can relax comfortably that way. Listening to my words. I'm going to do 3 awarenesses. The first one is awareness of our body. As we sit in this quiet, gently expand your minds to an awareness of your body. Is your body ready to meditate? Is it comfortable? Do you need to gently move a little bit to let go of any tension? Nicely settled, but aware and calm, resting your body. Second one is awareness of our breath. As we gently slide our concentration across from our body to our breath, we let our minds develop the second awareness, awareness of our breath. We may wish to notice this just inside the tip of your nose, or the rise and fall in your chest. Gently resting, breathing in and breathing out. You may notice that the in-breath is cooler than the out-breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Awareness of our breath. Awareness of our breath is the bridge that takes us from the external world to the wonderful inner world of meditation. It is in that space that we can do our third awareness, awareness of mind. Gently being with your mind. How does your mind feel when you rest this way? As we continue this meditation, dwelling in this place of peace, let's explore the mind's auditory consciousness, observing, noticing what we are hearing. Begin by listening to the play of sounds around you. Become aware, observing, nothing more. I don't know what sounds you can hear where you are, Some are soft, some are hard, some far, some near. Just listening to each one. Don't get caught in thinking, just observing, just listening. A sound, another one, and another. Just listening, nothing more. Notice how each sound arises. It's there for a while and then vanishes, leaving no trace. Just listening. No need to analyze. Listening in a relaxed, open way. The impermanence of each sound, the coming and going. Each sound coming and going. As you rest in this open awareness, notice how thoughts and images also arise and then vanish, just like the sounds. They too come and go, freely, without resistance. Impermanence of sounds, impermanence of thoughts, the impermanence of feelings. And when you're ready, just gently open your eyes and finish your meditation. So sorry, dear people, to take you away from that place of peace and rest. It's very nice just sitting there, isn't it? Resting your mind, resting your body. Today, I thought what we'd do would be turn around and look at the beginning of this marvellous Buddhist journey as our review for 2021, and also acknowledge the progress that we have made. Geshe said, correct thought, correct action. So our precious path to enlightenment text is the manual to achieve enlightenment, telling us correct thought and correct action, the how-tos, the wheres, the what we need to know, and so on. If I can say respectfully, it's sort of like the ultimate Lonely Planet tourism guidebook. The path to enlightenment gives us everything we need to know for our journey to enlightenment. We are told about the places to visit, and there are the wonderful illustrations, the photos of our mind. Our text includes an itinerary, the recommended order in which to visit these places. We are introduced to so many enlightened beings and marvellous Buddhas along the way, and we hear the inspirational stories of those who have travelled the path before us. And also, fortunately, there are warnings about dangerous territories to keep out of and dubious behaviours to avoid. As His Holiness the Dalai Lama says in his foreword to Geshe-la's text, the Lamrim teachings are uniquely Tibetan, a uniquely Tibetan presentation of the Buddhist path. They originate from a small text by the Indian master Atisha, who came to Tibet in the 11th century. He felt that Tibetans, and us of course, need a concise explanation of the entire paths and stages to enlightenment. So for those of us who have Geshe-la's text in front of them, if you could open up to the contents and then turn over one page to page 6. Now page 6 isn't actually numbered, so if you turn to page 8, then you can, I think that works, you can turn back to page 6. If you don't have the text, no problem, of course. Fingers crossed, I'm hoping I'm going to explain it to you as we go along. As we scan the page of the contents, we can see that there are actually 3 divisions, 3 paths to enlightenment that Buddha taught to correspond with the capabilities of those who practice it. There are the path of the small scope, the path of the medium scope, and the path of the great scope. Basically, these paths can be understood as 3 distinct paths, each explanatory in itself, and each of these paths can be an end goal. Practitioners who focus on the small scope, the path of renunciation of suffering, are focused on a wish to escape the suffering of cyclic existence, samsara, and abide in a state of blissful peace and permanent happiness. Those who focus on the medium scope, the path of bodhicitta, want to live in this life with loving kindness and great compassion. Their aim is to achieve Buddhahood, because it is the best way to liberate all sentient beings from suffering. Then there is the great scope, the path of wisdom. Having developed bodhicitta, we realise that we need to develop wisdom in order to achieve enlightenment. Specifically, we need to cultivate the wisdom that sees the true nature of all things, the emptiness of inherent existence of self and phenomena. This wisdom is the direct, permanent opponent to the delusions. But although these are 3 distinct paths, they can also be seen as 3 progressive steps that we undertake and we need to accomplish to reach enlightenment. Geshe-la's book is over 900 pages. I've got mine sitting there, and you can see it's quite a large text. And that the 900 pages don't include the outlines, indices, lists of quotes and so forth. Quite a lot for a mere mortal such as myself to comprehend and practice in one lifetime. Fortunately, on page 36 of the text, Geshe-la points out that we don't have to practice all of the teachings all at once, from the beginning right through to the end, or indeed that we should practice any subject that we don't understand yet. It works much better when our focus is on those teachings that feel right at the time. And what a relief that is. I don't know how you're going on your journey. But despite sometimes feeling a bit overwhelmed, I thank Geshe for the gift of this text in a form that I can understand, even if I can't practice it all just yet. And as a not insignificant aside, I gratefully acknowledge, bow down to and thank Geshe Acharya Thubten Loden, who we mentioned in our prayers this morning, and not this morning, before, in the prayer of the Lineage Gurus that we recited earlier. The verse about him says, giving explanation through compassion by seeing precisely and completely the essential points of all paths of Sutra and Tantra, holder of the Conqueror's entire holy Dharma, prostrations to the glorious Losang Dragpa. Geshe Acharya was born in Amdo, East Tibet, in 1357 and passed in 1419. Throughout his life, he placed great emphasis on the need for both study and practice, and was insistent about pure moral conduct for successful spiritual training in monastic orders. Indeed, Lama Tsongkhapa initiated the yellow hat of our Gilag tradition, with yellow symbolising moral conduct, growth, and being the colour of the earth element, the basis of everything. Thus, J. Rinpoche's followers became known as the Gilagpas, the virtuous ones. There have been many well-known, sorry, I'm having great trouble with words today. There have been many well-documented accounts of miracles associated with Geshe Acharya. When the Chinese broke open the golden stupa which housed his tomb in Ganden, his preserved body was found to be still warm, with its hair and nails still growing. And in Kumbul Monastery, sited at his birthplace, there is a tree where the leaves and bark contain Tibetan letters and symbols. Along with over 200 other texts, Geshe Acharya composed the great Tibetan Buddhism classic text of Great Exposition of the Stages of the Path. In Tibetan, that's called the Lam Rim Chenmo. Using the format developed by a teacher, he amalgamated all Buddha's sutras teachings into a systemic and coherent scheme for study and meditation. This structure continues to be the backbone of practice in our tradition today. Indeed, Geshe-la's precious text, Lam Rim text, follows this format. Now, if you turn back to the first page in the contents, it's like a mystery tour, you'll see that there are two important sections to consider before we embark on our journey on the paths. The first is the preliminary teachings that provide an introduction to Dharma, Buddha's teachings, and the second section is how to rely on a guru. The preliminary teachings are about a starting point, a reaction to our own circumstances, and a recognition that we need something more. There must be something better than this, as so many of us have said in those troubled times of our lives. The first section of the preliminary teachings is about the Dharma and the teachings of Buddha that go to the core needs of all human beings and every living being for that matter. The underlying wish, yearning for greater happiness, whilst also longing to be free of our suffering and pain. Yet because of our mental dissatisfaction and delusions, we seem to be constantly agitated. We rarely experience much mental peace or happiness. Try as we might, we just don't know where to find it or how to do it. In the second section of the preliminary teachings, which is called the origins of the teachings, how wonderful it is to be told those inspirational Buddhist foundation stories of Atisha and Tsongkhapa, who I was talking about before. Atisha, who early in the 11th century made a perilous journey from India to Sumatra to receive teachings there. It took him 13 months to get there. They were very incredibly dangerous journeys in those days. Then after his return, on the advice of Buddhatara, he headed off over the Himalayas to Tibet to teach there for many years. It is impossible to overestimate Atisha's bravery and dedication to Dharma, or our good fortune that he did. Atisha's graduated path route text, The Lamp for the Path to Enlightenment, is no more than a brief 6 pages of pristine wisdom, yet it is the foundation of our entire Buddhist understanding. Then we have the Tibetan Geshe Tsongkhapa, who I mentioned before, and we thank him for the expanded version of this graduated path teachings, giving us the extensive explanations of Atisha's text. As I was saying before, like Atisha, Tsongkhapa also had an inspirational life story. And enlightened being at birth, Lama Tsongkhapa was the manifestation of Buddha Manjushri, but he lived and practiced as a humble human in order to demonstrate to his students and to all of us that enlightenment is possible. We're fortunate in this temple to have a beautiful tanka of Lama Tsongkhapa up there on the end, the people here can see, and then another beautiful one of Manjushri, the first one here, that support our learnings from Geshe Tsongkhapa and the magnificent texts. Just as an aside, when you look at what he did with his life, it's absolutely extraordinary. I don't know how many decades he spent in, silent retreats, isolated in caves and so forth. Then he's over 200 texts that he wrote for us, and his poetry and incredible understanding of Dharma. These special beings, they're incredibly, just amazing. How fortunate we are to be involved with their teachings. Then the third teaching in this section is the special features of these teachings. In section 3, the special features of these teachings, we learn more about the 4 special features of Atisha's text and all other graduated path texts. Although there is a graduated path in Buddha's teachings, all Buddha's teachings are, the first one is non-contradictory, but composed according to the abilities and progress of the disciples. The second special feature is that Buddha's teachings are instructions for practice. By studying the graduated path of the 3 scopes, we will understand how all the scriptures of Lord Buddha, from Sutra to Tantra, are methods for reaching enlightenment. The third special feature is that we can understand the non-contradiction between wisdom perceiving emptiness and dependent arising. And the fourth one, then with continued study, we are freed of the great fault of abandoning the Dharma. In this fault, we can collect very heavy negative karma of rejecting or denigrating any part of Lord Buddha's teachings. Then the fourth section of the preliminary teachings is studying and teaching the Dharma. In this final section, we learn how to study and teach the Dharma, first by listening, then by thinking about those teachings, then finally through meditating, cultivating our minds and actions. And let me briefly mention, for me, an incredible reminder of what we are doing and how we should be doing it. On page 78 of Geshe-la's text, there's the beautiful metaphor, the vessel metaphor, for studying and teaching and learning Dharma. It always makes me pause and pull myself into line. Abandoning the three faults of studying Dharma, we can think about, am I being like an upside down vessel where nothing goes in? Or am I like a vessel with a hole in it where I don't retain any of Buddha's teachings and wisdom? Or am I like a dirty vessel with negative thoughts and self-cherishing attitudes? And for myself, I also try to remember a personal check of, is my bodhicitta motivation forefront in my practice? Or have I slipped into self-cherishing attitudes? So, in summary, the first section is the preliminary teachings of Buddha, the Dharma, the origins of the teachings, their special features, and studying and teaching the Dharma. The three paths of Buddha's practice, depending on the outcome we seek from our practice. The small scope, where we develop renunciation. The medium scope of bodhicitta, and the great scope, the path of wisdom. Just as Geshe-la said, correct thought, correct action. So in part 2, it is called How to Rely on a Guru. So now our questions become, how can we learn this marvellous Dharma? Who will guide us during our Buddhist journey? In some ways, we are fortunate in this Western world of books and internet and Googling and so forth. We can probably find all sorts of information about any aspect of Buddhism that we want. But this is important stuff that we're researching here. We aren't just talking about way to get grease off the barbecue or which suburb to buy a house in. We're talking here about how to lead our lives. Our work, our family, our care of others, our care of ourselves, everything. And not only this life, we want to enhance all our future lives too, until we can attain enlightenment. I feel that choosing a guru, or even deciding to have a guru, is quite a personal decision. In some ways, it takes great courage to have a guru. In this powerful, speedy world, to take on, have confidence in, submit to a guru can be very challenging indeed. It is such a different perspective from the me world in which we live. Some people will prefer to travel their own path without a guru. This is entirely their choice and decision, of course, and should always be respected. However, part 2 of our text, How to Rely on a Guru, provides marvellous instruction. Geshe-la describes 10 qualities to look for in a guru. Of course, this is on page 93, if you're looking for it somewhere there. Of course, it may not be possible to find someone with all these 10 qualities, but we should look for someone who at least has 5 qualities of ethics, concentration, wisdom, the wisdom that perceives emptiness, and compassion. But gurus need not be in human form. This Path to Enlightenment text and others such as Atisha's Lamp for the Path to Enlightenment or Lama Tsongkhapa's many works can also be our teacher. Also, it's worth reflecting that it isn't essential to have personal contact with our guru. An example of this would be His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. There are many people who would consider His Holiness to be their guru, but they have never met him or even seen him in person. This guru-student relationship isn't a one-way street. In reciprocation, we as students need to cultivate qualities as well. We need to be honest, to have discriminating wisdom about the teachings, to make effort in our practice, and to have respect for the teacher and the teachings, and to listen attentively with concentration and mindfulness. When we have listened, we need to use the thorough thinking to understand what is being taught, and then we need to stabilise our understanding by meditating. I'd like to clarify here that a guru isn't a god, a saviour, as they may be portrayed in other religious perspectives. It is not like that. Our gurus provide us with the most marvellous example, teachings and advice. It is through our own study and practice that we realise these teachings and make progress along the path. As it is said in the sutras, the Buddhas cannot wash away our sins with water. They cannot remove sentient beings suffering by hand. Their realizations cannot be transferred to others. Only by showing the truth of suchness can we be released. So, it'd be all very easy, wouldn't it? We just plonked down in front of our guru and got touched on the head and got enlightenment. But what a wasted journey that would be, because it's through our own practice and study and meditating that we take these teachings into our hearts. Okay, I think that's enough of my voice for today. We've certainly covered quite a bit of Geshe-la's marvellous text. We've reviewed the preliminary teachings of Buddha and how to rely on a guru, and we'll visit the section on meditation in every class, so we won't actually go through that section. Next week, we'll quickly go through the other introductory topics at the beginning of our class to set the context for our learning about karma. Listening, thinking, and meditating on our instruction for how to practice the Dharma. We've done a lot of the first two today, listening and thinking. But before we recite our final prayers and dedicate our merit, let's balance things a bit by finishing with a meditating on. So meditation, it brings our practice back to our hearts, much more than mere intellectual understanding. So with grateful thanks, I'd like us to do a visual meditation on Shakyamuni Buddha. And I might first of all, last week I, with great delight, put up some calligraphy of Thich Nhat Hanh, and I also put up one today for us to enjoy. It says, "Be still and know." Venerable Manikam's going to help me now. down the bottom of the screen there. Can you people see that? It's quite beautiful. It looks like that, but it's for people who are here. Ah, there it is in colour. Thank you, Marnie. Be still and know. I thought I'd not be indulgent because I think we're very fortunate to be able to do it. I thought each week with Thich Nhat Hanh's recent passing that I would use one of his calligraphies in our meditations each week. That one's actually in a rectangle, but I was saying last week that many of his calligraphies are in a circle, and he talks about drawing the circle, and to me it's talking about the emptiness of the circle that he draws to contain his calligraphy, because he talks about starting with the brush at a point and drawing a circle and coming back to there, so that the beautiful circle of the calligraphy, represents our learning and the emptiness. And then the words of the calligraphy represent that other side, the other wing of the bird. One wing is the wisdom, the emptiness, and the other wing is the compassion. So this one happens to not be in circle. Sorry about that, people. But it's still a beautiful one that says, be still and know. And I thought as we started our last meditation, we might just go back to our initial one, our initial meditation, where we're doing our 3 awarenesses and sitting still and knowing. So just get yourself gently ready to meditate in whatever posture works for you. The first awareness of body. As you sit quietly, being still and knowing, become aware of your body. The second awareness of your breathing. Being still and knowing your breathing. And third awareness, being still and knowing the peacefulness of your mind. So grateful thanks. I'd like us to continue our meditation using a visualization meditation on Shakyamuni Buddha, the holy originator, the enlightened custodian, the Bhagavan, the Blessed One, the Lord, Buddha's teachings. People here in the temple may wish to glance at the statue, and then on your screens at home you can see the beautiful statue here in our temple that we are so fortunate to have. We will be imagining a visualization similar to the statue. But remember that the statue is a statue, solid, made of brass. In our meditation, we visualize a light-natured Shakyamuni Buddha, made of light, sort of like a beautiful translucent rainbow balloon hollow inside. Using a size you're comfortable with, somewhere between tiny and life size. Visualize, imagine, meditate that in the space before you, at about the level of your forehead, not too high, not too low, about 2 meters away, there is a precious square throne. It is not solid, but in the nature of light. So you are aware of it, but can sort of see through it too. This throne is like a large platform, not like a chair. And it is supported by 8 mighty snow lines, 2 on each side of the throne. In aspect, it is a precious throne, but it is also Shakyamuni Buddha's wisdom truth body. On top of the throne is a light-natured lotus flower with white petals, symbolizing renunciation. On top of the lotus, in the nature of light, is a large flat round cushion, flat full moon cushion, symbolizing bodhicitta. And on top of the moon cushion arises a large flat sun cushion, also in the nature of light, symbolizing the realization of wisdom. Then on top of these 3 cushions, from emptiness arises Shakyamuni Buddha. Just like in the statue, only alive and breathing, actually with us. His body is golden in colour, clear and translucent like a rainbow. He has 1 face and 2 arms. His 1 face symbolises that he is the one nature of all phenomena, their emptiness of inherent existence. His right hand rests on his right knee in the earth-touching gesture, with his palm facing down and his fingers gently extended. This gesture symbolises Shakyamuni Buddha's power to stop all negativities. His left hand rests in his lap, palm up, indicating that he is meditating. And he holds a begging bowl full of nectar, the nectar which destroys all delusions, and especially all diseases. Shakyamuni Buddha is a monk wearing the 3 Dharma robes, symbolizing his pure ethics. and he has all the marks and signs of a perfectly enlightened being. He sits in the cross-legged position, and his eyes are gently closed in meditation. Just sit with your visualization, letting it arise, no forcing. Just know he is here with you. All in the nature of light, the throne, white lotus, right hand on his right knee, palm down, left hand resting in his lap, palm up. He's meditating, holding a begging bowl full of nectar. Wearing the robes of a monk, with all the signs and marks of an enlightened being, and his eyes gently closed, semi-closed in meditation. At Shakyamuni Buddha's heart, imagine the small blue syllable hum, H-U-M, and around it is written Shakyamuni Buddha's mantra, Om Muni Muni Maha Muniye Soha. Shakyamuni Buddha's heart emanates countless rays of light blessings in all directions. When you imagine Lord Shakyamuni Buddha, you should feel that it is the real Buddha who is before you, light-natured, but really there, so much more than a statue. See him smiling blissfully and radiating marvellous light in all directions. As these lights touch your body and absorb into you, he looks down at you and smiles gently upon you. You can feel his limitless kindness, love, and generosity. His compassion and understanding for you. Healing you and all living beings. His radiating light absorbing into you love and compassion. So precious, so peaceful. Now, to finish the meditation in a most beautiful way, bring Shakyamuni Buddha, however you are imagining him, to sit just above the crown of your head. He's facing the same way as you. Shrink Lord Buddha down to a very small size, about the size of your thumbnail. Let him enter your body through the crown of your head, coming right down to your heart. Shakyamuni Buddha is resting in your heart. See him sitting there clearly, facing the same way as you. Shakyamuni Buddha is always with you. He radiates love and compassion for you and for all sentient beings. He is always with you in your heart. So precious and so peaceful. Quietly enjoy this knowing. Now take a moment to reflect on your mind, how peaceful your mind is, how focused, how pure. The gift of Shakyamuni Buddha. And also reflecting that the love and compassion and knowing has been created by mind, and indeed your mind. Then when you're ready, gently finish the meditation and open your eyes. Thank you, everyone. Let's seal the merit of our practice today with dedication. I sort of feel sad that in some ways I'm dedicating a merit just as I did last week, knowing that there has been little change in the suffering of war or the suffering of floods. So dedicating for the terrible Ukraine situation, dedicating for world peace, freedom from war and oppression, and the safety of all sentient beings. And particularly dedicating for the safety and respite of all those sentient beings affected by the floods in our own country. And dedicating for people who are unwell, who are feeling pain and the disruption pain causes to their lives. May they too recover and have ongoing health and well-being. May we all learn to care for our world with great tenderness and respect, the environment and all sentient beings. So, for our first final prayer tonight, following my incorrect rendition last week, I would like to read Geshe Acharya's great prayer for world peace on page 45 of the prayer book, please, with great humbleness and apologies to Geshe Acharya on page 45. Great prayer for world peace. May all living beings be adorned with love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. May they possess generosity, ethics, patience, effort, concentration, and wisdom. Thus, by the virtue collected through all that I have done, may the pain of every living being be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. May a rain of food and drink descend to clear away the pain of thirst and hunger, and during the eons of famine, may I myself May I myself change into food and drink. May I become an inexhaustible treasure for those who are poor and destitute. May I turn into all they need, and may these be placed close beside them. Without any sense of loss, I shall give up my body and enjoyments, as well as all my virtues of the 3 kinds, for the sake of benefiting all. May I be a protector for those without one, a guide for all travellers on the way. May I be a bridge, a boat and a ship for all who wish to cross the water. May I be an island for those who seek one, and a lamp for those desiring light. May I be a bed for all who wish to rest, and a slave for all who want a slave. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all boundless beings. May the blind see forms, may the deaf hear sounds, and just as rainbows arise naturally from space, may pregnant women give birth without pain. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth, and those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find new hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May all who are sick and ill quickly be free from the illness, and may every disease in the world never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people thinking of benefiting one another. May all sentient beings have all the stainless powers, freedom from all conditions of non-leisure, freedom of action and good livelihood. May embodied beings have a good complexion, good physique, great beauty, a pleasant appearance, free from disease, power and long life. May I always be an object of enjoyment for all sentient beings according to their wish, and without interference, as are the earth, water, fire, wind, medicine and forests. May I be as dear to sentient beings as their own life, and may they be very dear to me. May their negativities ripen for me, and all my virtues for them. May I give profit and victory to others, and take loss and defeat for myself. May I abandon selfishly cherishing myself, and continuously practice cherishing others. As long as any sentient being anywhere has not been liberated, may I remain in the world for their sake, even though I have attained enlightenment. May all worldly beings never experience war, fighting or conflict, and forever remain without bad conditions such as earthquake, disease or drought. May peace pervade the hearts of all, that they ever abide in joy and abundance. By the merits I have accumulated, may every living being abandon all forms of evil and continuously engage in virtue. As you listen with interdependence in your heart, send your love and compassion to all sentient beings, yourself, others, humans and non-humans, particularly called to mind in your dedication, those in your life that you particularly want to dedicate to, ones you would like to remember in your dedications. And then we'll do the final prayer of the graduated path on page 31. I think it does not. Yes, page 31. This is composed by the unequaled second Buddha, Jetsun Tsongkhapa. And Geshe said about this prayer that it is a very deep dedication. Again, Tsongkhapa is so important in our lives, in our learning, in our journeys. By the two collections, vastest space, amassed with effort for a long time, may I become a chief of conquerors, a guide for all beings whose mind-eye is blinded by ignorance. Also, in all lives who have not yet come to that, may Manchushri favour me with his compassion, finding the supreme path, complete with all the stages of the teachings. May I please the conquerors by practicing well. By my precise understanding of the essential points of the path, with skillful means drawn along by strong compassion, and by dispelling the mental darkness of beings, may I uphold the conqueror's teaching for a long time. Where the supreme precious teaching has not spread, also where it has spread but become degenerate, with the mind deeply moved by great compassion, may I make clear this treasure of benefit and bliss. The stages of the path, excellently established by the marvellous deeds of the conquerors and their children, give glory to the minds of those aspiring for liberation. May the conquerors' deeds be long preserved. May all humans and non-humans who remove the obstructions and establish conditions favourable to cultivating the excellent path never be parted for all of their lifetimes from the purest of paths which the Buddhas have praised. When someone makes effort to practice properly the 10 points of conduct of the Supreme Vehicle, may they always be assisted by the mighty protectors, and may oceans of good fortune spread out, reaching all. And then this on page 34. Do the general dedication in Tibetan and English. Gewadi Kirbogun Sona Yeshe Sakshin Sona Yeshe By this virtue, may all beings complete the collections of wisdom and merit and attain the two holy bodies arisen from wisdom and merit. Jangju Sen Chokrin Hote Mahake Panam Ke Goshin Ke Panyam Me May the precious superior mind of enlightenment be generated in those who have not yet generated, and not decrease in those who have developed it, but increase continuously. Thank you all for joining me today, and thank you again, Venerable Manakam. Our next Path to Enlightenment class is 4 p.m. on Sunday the 20th of March, where we shall continue learning about the path to enlightenment, enjoying the meditations, the basis of our practice. And I'm assuming we'll be here in the temple and available online, all things going well. And just to let everyone know also, there is a New Year gathering, a morning for peace and renewal, 10 a.m. to midday on Saturday the 26th of March. And it'd be wonderful if you can join us. There's further information on the website about that and how to respond. Is that right?
By email.
By email, the responses, but I think it's explained on our website. Any questions, comments? Thank you, people. Thank you for joining me today. Much appreciated.